Time to Talk Tuesday, where your local realtor, Antonio Newton, discusses the local market and common issues, providing quick solutions, creative ideas, as well as tips for investors, home buyers, and homeowners.
Hi, my name is Antonio Newton, your local realtor with the Newton Group at Coldwell Banker, and welcome to Time to Talk Tuesday. Today, we're continuing our series on the home buying process, which is even more critical now with us being in the seller's market. So now buyers are obviously there competing, and it's so imperative that not only are you educated, but you're prepared if you're in the marketplace looking for a home. There's so many things to consider, so many moving parts, and not only that, but things are moving so quickly that sometimes you don't have time to get things together. So you want to go in prepared, ready, with a plan of action. So that's what this series is for, really to make sure that you as a home buyer are educated and prepared and confident to enter the marketplace, even in the challenging seller's market, and be able to find success. So today we're talking about part 2, which is knowing and understanding your credit. So before we go in and talk about how's your credit and understanding it and knowing it, we just want to give you a friendly reminder and thank our sponsors. So we want to thank Better Way Properties as well as ColumbiaNortheastHomeshow.com for your sponsorship. Thank you so much. And we also want to give you, our viewers and listeners, a reminder that you can catch all of our video content on our YouTube channel at Antonio Newton Realtor. You can also catch our podcast on any of your podcast providers, Google, Apple Music, and etc. And if you hear something that you like, don't forget to share it with a friend. You can comment. Of course, you can like it, but make sure you click that bell so that way you get notified of any of our video content that we put out. We have our other Time to Talk Tuesday episode. We have other series for home buyers and home sellers. We also have our After Coffee interview series where we're interviewing previous homeowners, where we're also interviewing resources and lending professionals and realtors. And then we'll also have our market stats video, which we do monthly, as well as all of our other video content. So go browse, check it out, Antonio Newton Realtor. And once again, don't forget to click that bell and get notified. So jumping into today, part 2, knowing your credit. So last week we talked about understanding how much you can afford, and really before you even talk to a realtor or lender professional, you sit down with your finances, think about your lifestyle, think about how much you eat out, think about Starbucks, think about what you like to do for entertainment, movies, bowling, going out, and things like that. Think about your budget and what you can comfortably afford, because regardless of what you get approved for, that may not be where you're comfortable. So it's important that you know that before you talk to anyone else, so that way you have a plan and you know what's comfortable for you. And in harmony with knowing your finances, you also want to know how is your credit. Credit is so important. You know, there's a lot of down payment assistance programs. You also have 100% financing programs where you don't have to put money down. But regardless of any loan that you get, they're going to want to know your credit. And you got to have a credit score that's going to be worthy of obtaining a loan. And of course, the higher your credit score, generally the lower your interest rate and the better terms you'll be able to have for your loan. So it's imperative that you know your credit. And there's great credit monitoring services. Obviously, many people have heard of Credit Karma. I believe Experian has one now. There's some others out there. And even though these may not be 100% accurate, they're vital in terms of just monitoring your credit score. Because even though it's not 100% accurate, if your credit score is going up on Credit Karma or going up on Experian, it's probably going up. Your actual score is going up as well. And they calculate it differently. So whenever a mortgage lender is looking for your score, the score that they use, there's different calculations on how they derive, but the score that they get is what they're going to use. And it's a FICO score. And so there's 5 areas that make up your FICO score. So number 1 is your payment history. That's do you pay on time? That portion of your credit is 35% of your score. Your next is how much you owe. Your utilization, also as they call it. That is 30% of your credit score. So those two are over half of what calculates your score. And then the next big interest, or the next one, is 15% is the length of credit history. So how long have you had this account open? It's 15%. And then you have 10% in terms of the credit mix. How's your credit mix? Do you have revolving credit? Is it installment credit? And then also any kind of new credit or credit inquiries is another 10%. But the two main things are going to be your payment history. Are you paying things on time? And then the amount that you owe. How are you utilizing your credit? Are your credit cards maxed out? Things of that nature. So those two together make up 65%. So why is it important that you know? Because obviously we know that's a major component in getting approved for a house. You're going to have your credit pulled, and they're going to check your credit worthiness. And that's going to affect what you get approved for, what your interest rate is. It also can affect if you're going to be eligible for certain programs. Will you be eligible for USDA, which is 100% financing? Will you be eligible for down payment assistance programs? So that credit score is very vital. So if you know of any challenges that you may have on your credit score, if you know it's not where it needs to be, it may be worth a conversation. Before you have it pulled, before you talk to the lender, work on some of those things. There's tips that you can have in terms of, maybe open up a secured credit card if you need help to start establishing credit. Because ideally, I'm not a lender, but ideally they look for 3 positive credit lines is what they're looking for. And so anything that you do have open, you want to make sure, number one, you're paying it on time. If you have a credit card, a car payment, number one thing is make sure any credit active is paid on time. And then once you get that under your belt, then you want to talk to a professional, figure out if you should pay any of the things that are delinquent, depending on how old they are, medical bills, any kind of judgments or anything like that that may be on your credit, or should you work on establishing new positive credit? And that's where you would get the help of a professional, and they'll be able to pull your credit. No, you're not credit worthy to buy a house, but they'll be able to see what's on it and then give you guidance on what the next steps are so that you can move towards home ownership, move towards improving that credit. So it's important that you know that, but if you know there's some challenges, start working on it. One, make sure you're paying everything that you have open currently on time. And then after that, sit down with a mortgage lender, have them pull it and see where you're at and see if it would be most advantageous to pay some of the old things off, or would it be more advantageous to start building new credit to establish some current credit history? And that's where they can guide you. Because no doubt you want the quickest path to success, and we want that for you as well. So I hope you enjoyed part 2 of our home buying series, and stay tuned for part 3, which comes after you know what you can afford and after you worked on your credit, is qualifying for a mortgage. What all is in that? Well, if you've done part 1 and 2, then you've already ahead of the curveball. But stay tuned for part 3. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me, Antonio Newton, at the Newton Group with Coldwell Banker at 803-608-2597. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you for watching, and thank you for listening, and have a great day.
This episode of Time to Talk Tuesday was brought to you by the Newton Group at Coldwell Banker, where nothing works until we do. Look for our episodes every Tuesday where Antonio Newton discusses the local market and common issues while providing quick solutions, creative ideas, as well as tips for investors, home buyers, and homeowners. If you'd like to reach out to us, we can be reached online and on land at area code 803-608-2597. So until next time, here's wishing you all fair winds, following seas, and gentle tides.